So in today's uh, I'll be covering the remaining OOPS concept. Let me create a new package. Day 10. Okay. So yesterday we started with some of the OOPS concepts. We covered encapsulation. So if we recall all of them, let me just open the Notepad++ and yesterday's notes. Okay, so yesterday we started with OOPS concepts. We have already covered classes and objects. We have already covered encapsulation. So if we recall what is encapsulation, encapsulation is wrapping up everything in one single unit. Class is an example of encapsulation where we everything like variables as well as your methods, everything is wrapped up in one single unit, and we call that single unit as class. Okay, so look at here. If I open any of the class, you see any class, say for example I'm opening this class, everything is wrapped up into one single unit. If I open even the Guru 99 project we saw, so here everything is wrapped up into one single unit. So this is known as encapsulation. Another example of encapsulation is methods. In methods, what you do, you wrap up all the logic in one single unit, and we call that logic as, we call that that one single unit as methods. Okay, so this is one of the example of encapsulation where you're hiding the details from outside world. Okay, then we started with inheritance. So what is inheritance? When you have multiple classes and uh, when you want to share some of them, when you want to share methods from uh, say for example, I created a class A. If I go to inheritance example, I created class car, then I created first class machine, and then I created class car, and then we saw that when I inherit when car class inherits machine class, then this car class has everything you need from machine class. All the methods and everything is there. So when you create instance of okay, so when you create instance of machine class, as it does not inherit anything, it has all the methods from machine class only. Second, we saw car. Car is a class which has all the methods of machine class as well as some of its own methods. So here you can see we have engine run and save as. So this object alto, it has methods from car class as well as methods from machine class. So in a way, there is a parent class and then there is a child class. When child class inherits parent class, then it has all the properties when I say all the variables and methods as well as all the, yeah, all the variables and methods will be available in child class. Okay, then we also saw that there is one more way we can create an instance, and the way is that you can create an instance of parent class but can initialize it with child class. Okay, so I created an instance of machine, but I initialized it with car class. So by doing so, the methods which will be available with this variable will only be from machine class, not from car class. Okay, so here machine small mac will have can have methods only from machine class, but yeah, it will initialize the constructor of car as well as machine. Okay, so any questions on this? Nishta, you have a question. Is encapsulation and data hiding different? We are coming to that. Our next topic is data hiding only. So that time I'll show you what exactly we mean by data hiding. Okay, again, this data hiding concept has come from encapsulation only. So all these concepts like encapsulation, data hiding, abstraction, all these concepts complement each other. Okay, so one is not complete without another. You can say like that. Okay, so any questions in inheritance? Okay, then we started with the next topic was access modifiers. So access modifiers, we saw that there are four access modifiers. One is public, second is private, third is protected, and fourth one is default. So the public is whenever you are defining any variable or method as public, those methods and variables can be accessed anywhere within the project. So if you have created anything in as public within the source folder, whatever code you write, everywhere they are available. You don't have to, I mean, even outside the package or within same package or within same class or outside a class, everywhere they will be available. Which one? Public. Okay, so we also discussed there are two ways you can access a variable and a method. What were those? One using inheritance and second using by creating an instance. So I'm talking about both. For public, both ways you can access. Then talking about the private one, private variables and methods can only be accessed within same class. If you have created any private method in machine class, then you can access only within machine class. You cannot access it outside. Okay, by any ways, like even by creating a variable or even by inheritance. Both ways, this private won't be available outside. Then we have two more. One is protected and second is default. Both are similar in the sense that both protected and default cannot be accessed outside a package. Within a same package, they can be accessed anywhere, but outside a package, only protected can be accessed, that too via inheritance. Okay, without inheritance, that is by creating instance, even protected is not available. Okay, so clear to all? Any questions in this? We discussed this in detail yesterday, so you can go through the recordings if you have any questions here. Okay, still if you have anything, do let me know. I'll cover it. Yes, Sai, you have any question?
So, one real life scenario is protected is when you're using security purpose, or is it that time when it's used? Protected
Protected.
access modifier.
Yeah, so the real-time example probably I'll be able to explain once we'll go through the frameworks. This is the accessibility level, and yes, you're right. One of the reason is security purpose only. If you're creating one of the functionality in one of the package, and you don't want it to be accessed in some other package, maybe some other package has some other functionality, some important functionality, and you don't want to make that variable available in the second package, then you will keep it default. And if you want it to be accessed, if you want it to be accessed somewhere, uh, but only through inheritance, then you can keep it protected. So all these are like access level. Okay, they have, like, Java has provided us all the possible accessibilities. Just imagine in such a way that one of the functionality can have one of the core logic, and you don't want that core logic variables to be accessed outside, because someone might hack it. Okay, so that's the reason we keep it either protected or default. Okay, so you're clear with access modifiers. Good. Now we'll start with actually the abstraction, or you can say this abstraction also includes data hiding. I'll cover this along with this abstraction only. So let's cover the data hiding part, and we'll come back to abstraction. If in a brief I want to express this abstraction, what does abstraction means? Abstraction means hiding the details from outside world. Okay, there are couple of ways we can do abstraction. One of them is data hiding. So let me start with data hiding. Probably that time this statement, that is hiding the details from outside world, will be more clear. Okay, and again I'm saying encapsulation and abstraction, these two, you might get confused that you'll say that okay, you said the same thing when you said the same thing when we were discussing about encapsulation. So I'll again repeat the statement that both of them complement each other. What is encapsulation? Encapsulation is where we are wrapping up in everything in one single unit. Okay, and outside when we are accessing, only the detailing is only the method is there. Their details are not there. The way methods are implemented are not there. Same is the case with abstraction. In abstraction also, you are hiding the details with many ways. One of the ways data hiding. I'll discuss it now. Okay, so for that, what I'll do, I'll take one of the example we studied in day 4, that is employee. Okay, so I'll just copy this class and we'll paste it in today's class. We created a package day 10. Okay, paste. Okay, now in day 10, I created one class called employee, in which I'll just okay, what I'll do, I'll just remove the everything extra. So I just don't need this. I just need a calculate salary method. Okay, and yeah, I need this thing. Okay, so this class, let me just remove this as well. I just created a simple employee class which has two variables. One is salary, int salary, and second one is another variable, int bonus. And then I created one method called calculate salary, which has a logic to calculate the salary. Simple thing, right? Now, uh, I'll create one more class. Let's say demo class, demo employee. We'll keep public static void main checked. Now in this demo employee, first of all, I'll create an instance of that class. So let's say I'm creating an instance employee, maybe a variable Saurabh equal to new employee. Okay. Now I can access, now see, the variables defined in this employee class, both of them are integers. And the access level, if you see, for to both of them, the access level is default. Just recall what you can do or where you can access default. Default variables and methods can be accessed within same class, within same package, but cannot be accessed outside a package, right? So if you have kept them as default or protected or let's say public, any of the three, that means they can be accessed outside. So just imagine that I am here in the demo employee and here I'm saying Saurabh dot salary. Can I put any salary? Right? I can put this value. Then I can say Saurabh dot salary, Saurabh dot bonus equal to, you can put any value, maybe something. Okay. And then you can say Saurabh dot calculate salary. And when I execute, it will just create the sum of both. Now in this particular example, if you see the data type of these two are salary and bonus, they are integer. And can I make this value as negative? Can I make this value as negative or maybe positive? What will be the calculate salary in this case? If I execute the code, you will see that this total salary coming is negative. Is negative salary possible? No, but as we have access to this particular variable, that is salary, I can assign any value to it. Okay, user can make any mistake and user can assign any value to it. As the value is accepted, you will get some absurd result. Okay, so This is one of the example where we can misuse the accessibility of these variables. Okay, so same example we'll also see in Selenium, where we'll hide our WebDriver instance or Chrome driver instance. Reason that we'll discuss that time, but here you can see that one of the example I show you where these two variables, salary and bonus, as they were accessible outside, I can put any random value to it, which can give us some absurd result. Okay, what I can do here is I can make them private so that nobody from outside can access them. That means you have removed your accessibility. That means these variables are not available outside. See here, it is giving you error. The field employee is not visible. If something is not visible, that means that is hidden. That means the data is hidden. That means these variables are hidden. Okay. So this is a concept of data hiding where you hide the variables from outside world so that nobody from outside can modify them or assign absurd values. But now comes a question that if you have hidden the data, if you have made them private and nobody can from outside can access them, then how will I supply the value? How will I put the value? Okay, so for this, that there is a concept called getters and setters. Okay, we have a concept known as getters and setters. To set the value, we have something known as setters. So here, what we'll do, I'll create one method, public void, okay, and we'll call it set salary. Okay, we always put a set before that variable. So our variable was salary. Okay, salary is the name of the variable. We'll put a keyword set. So this become one setter. What we are doing, we are setting the salary. Okay, here what you're using, so I'll say int salary. Okay, and whatever salary will take from the outside world, I'll put it in our variable. So this dot salary equal to salary. This way I provided access to my variable outside. Okay, but the problem is still there, that even now I can say that okay, if I want to set the salary, I'll say Saurabh dot, here I'll say Saurabh dot set salary, and the value of the salary will be anything. Okay, even the negative value it will take. Okay, when I execute the code, it will work fine, right? But here we have an added advantage, as the value is being set through a variable. Oh, sorry, the value to the variable is set through a method. I have access to control the method. I can say if salary is less than 0, then sorry, if I'll say if the salary is greater than 0, then assign this value, else else simply say currently I'm just printing system dot out dot println. Here you can even change this out to ERR. ERR will represent things in error format. I can say invalid salary. Okay, so when I execute this code, okay, where are the errors? Okay, here I have to execute. So when I execute this code, you can see it is printing invalid salary, and it has not taken that value. Negative value is not taken. Why? Because I put a condition here, okay, that if salary is greater than 0, then only put the salary. Otherwise, simply throw an exception saying, otherwise simply just print an error saying invalid salary. In real time, we use something known as throw keyword, which throws an exception. Okay, going forward, we'll learn that using that, even this method will not be executed. Okay, uh, we'll just simply end our code here only. Okay, so got the point that what I'm trying to say, that earlier I had the excess of this salary variable, so I was able to put some absurd value, some negative value to salary, which is not possible. What we did, we made this variable as private. That means this variable is hidden from the outside world now. So the term data hiding came. Okay, now what benefit we are getting, that these variables are not accessible. Okay, so but we wanted the value from outside world. So what I did, I made the variable as I made the method as public. By making the method as public, what benefit I got? The benefit I got is that like by making this method set salary, the benefit I get is that this I can put the condition here. Okay, I put the condition here, and whatever was my requirement, I can do that. Okay, so Rupesh, you have a question. We can access the set salary outside package also in this public. Yes, if you have created the set salary method as public, then even you can access this outside outside the package as well. Okay, but see, no one can do anything with it, right? We have a control situation in this case. Okay, so the benefit you're getting is that the salary which earlier had no condition, any value can be updated. Now you can put a condition. Okay, and Rakesh, you have a question. We can also put condition private or protected. Is it possible? You mean to say that the set salary, keeping the set salary as private and protected? Okay, see, look at the benefit you're getting through the set method. The benefit is that you can set the salary from outside world, right? Now, if you make it private, then this set salary will not be available outside. That means there is no sense of creating this method. The main purpose of this method is to set the salary, okay, because my variable is private. If even you make your method also as private, that means you'll not be able to access it outside. So no sense of creating this method. So the answer for private is no. And for protected, if you make this method as protected, then in that case, it can be accessed outside, but within the same package. Outside the package also you can access, but only through inheritance. So if the requirement is such that you want only outside a package, keep it default. If the requirement is that outside the package it should be available, also should be available, keep it public or protected. Through protected you can do using inheritance, not by creating an object. Okay, so clear to all, this setter clear to all, any doubt in setters?
Saurabh, I have one question regarding those variables you put as private, right?
Mm-hmm.
Salary and bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the use of that? I mean, I understood why we created set salary, but you said we cannot change the salary or bonus. That is the
See,
reason we put
see,
private.
the example, just recall what I started with. I said that when I'm putting salary, like when these two variables were public, their access was everywhere outside. Or even if they were default, then also their access were within the same package. So what I did here, that when they were, let's say, and I'll make them, one of them is default. When I made this bonus as default, I can access it from outside. I can say Saurabh dot Saurabh my bad. Okay, Saurabh dot bonus. I can directly access it, right? If I can directly access it, then I can put any value to it. Maybe I can put a negative value, I can put some zero value. Okay, can bonus be negative? I mean, either it can be zero or it will be a positive value. It cannot be negative, right? So
Yeah.
if you are like if you have given the excess, then you don't have the control on putting the values. Okay, it can take any value. So what I did, just to take away the control from outside world, I made them private. Okay, I made them private. Now, as soon as I made them private, those are not accessible outside. So here you can see Saurabh dot bonus is not there. You don't have bonus op or you don't have salary. Okay, as you don't have these two options, that means you cannot provide negative values or anything. But now comes a question that if I cannot supply any value, okay, then how will I give the value? I mean, I wanted to just control the negative thing, but now even I cannot give the positive values. So for that, there is a standard in our all programming language. We call that getters and setters. What we can do through getters and setters, here I created one method called set salary. Okay, you're taking one of the argument in salary. Now see, what extra benefit I'm getting out of here is that while setting the salary, I am putting some condition. My requirement was that it should take all the positive values, negative should get in ignore. So I applied a condition stating if salary is greater than 0, that means if the salary is positive, then only set the salary, else simply throw an error stating invalid salary. Okay. So Rupesh, you have a question. Who can misuse the value like this is done by programmers only? Actually, it's a good question, but I'll try to explain you. See, I agree to you that these are the programmers only because you are thinking through a tester's perspective only. Okay, because we are developing Java. I mean, we are using Java only for developing the Selenium code, but just consider that you are a developer and you are developing an application. Okay, and let's say you are developing a feature of login. Okay, and the variables you use in the login, and if you have made them maybe public, then they will be accessible outside also. And if a hacker, somebody who wants to hack your code, if a hacker somehow reaches to a situation where they can access your variables and can modify them, then they can do anything with your code. Okay, so you can say that these things we do for the for the security purpose. Okay, or even I'll try to give you an example from Selenium perspective also. See, you have done lots of programming in using this Selenium. So if I keep my WebDriver instance everywhere as public, that means I can access it everywhere. Okay, and somewhere I just modified the WebDriver, maybe through coding logic error or maybe through anywhere. Okay, then maybe what you did, you initialized it again. Okay, you'll not get any logic error, you'll not get any other issue. But what happened at the back end, you created another instance of the variable, you created another instance of your browser, so a new browser will get open. Okay, so others might not be getting because Rupesh has already completed the frameworks part earlier. So that's why I'm taking this example. Okay, so that's the reason that we always want to keep our variables private so that they cannot be accessed from outside, so that nobody can misuse it outside, and it should work. Okay, now even in the same example we took, you saying that programmers only do this. I agree to you. Now, what if you have created one UI and you are directly taking the salary and bonus from the UI, and that UI is filled by some non-technical person, and he was just testing it, or he was just testing the scenario, and just as a fun he entered negative value. What do you think what will happen? Or just think the real practical example. You're a tester, you're a manual tester, and you're developing an application where you take salary input. Okay, you have two fields in on the UI on web application where you are taking two values, salary and bonus. Okay, now will testing of this fields with negative value will be in your agenda or not? I mean, will be in your test case or not? Yes. So why to keep them public? Keep them private and then apply the condition. Getting the point, Rupesh, here what I'm trying to explain? Okay, anyone has any questions here? Okay, so what I want to, okay, one more thing. These getters and setter I was telling you, currently we have only covered setter. They are not, I mean, they are like a standard every programming language follows. Even C sharp has given them by default. Whenever you create a variable, they allow you to do a get set property. Okay. Now, one more thing. Uh, This Eclipse provides us one way where you can create these getters and setters by default. Is how you can do that. Right click, and then there is an option of source code. Here we have source, and then there is an option of in the source we have an option of generates getters and setters. Here, generate getters and setters. Select that, and here if you expand them, we have uh, this get bonus, get salary, set salary. So set bonus is already created, that's why it's not showing in the list. So select this set bonus and click OK. You will see that the method is created automatically. Now you can apply whatever condition you want. Okay, so this is the shortcut to create getters and setters. Any questions here? Okay, now let's talk about get. We talked about set, let's talk about get. So get is, now here you set the salary, and let's say I want to set the bonus as well. So I'll say Saurabh dot set bonus, and bonus you put some value. Okay, and now you did this, and now you want to execute the code. Okay, I'll execute the code. You will see that the submission is created. Now, when I set the salary, it might happen internally. Some logic is written, and you want to see what is the value of the salary. Okay, so I just want to get the salary. I will say Saurabh dot salary, but salary is not available to me, so I cannot take the salary variable from there. I mean, if I want to check what is the value of salary for Saurabh, can I do that? No, because those variables are private. But still, I want to know what is the value. Okay, so for that, again, all the programming language provides some standard methods. So one of them is get method. So we call it get salary. Okay. So what is the return type of this method? So if you see, the return type of this method is int, because the salary variable has return type, or you can say the salary the variable or the data type of salary is int. So here in the get salary method, the return type I'm putting is int. Here I'll simply say return salary. Okay, now here when I want to know what is the salary, so I can simply say Saurabh dot get salary. Okay, so when I execute this, you can see the salary is printed. So whatever salary we set, that is what we are getting. Clear? Any questions here? So this is a standard where if you want to get the value of any private variable, then we do it using get method. So in a way, these are private, so nobody can from outside can access. But using this get method, I made it read only. At least you can read the value, you cannot set it. Okay, for setting the value, you have to create setters. So if there is a requirement, maybe going forward there can be a requirement where you have some couple of some variables, you just want to make them read only. You want that from outside anybody can read their value but cannot modify. Okay, so uh, if I want my variables to be read only, that is if I want that only I can just read the value but I cannot modify them, then you can make them as private and then create getters to get the value. Again, there is a shortcut. Before that, any questions? Okay, Nishta, you have a question. In set method, you have passed the argument, no need in get method. See, get method is to get the value. Okay, set method is to set the value. In setting, you are taking value from outside which you are setting. In getting, you're just getting whatever is already there. So no need of a variable here. Okay, so here I just got this value. Again, these are standard methods. So when I'll right click source and then there is an option of generate getters and setters. Okay, only this is left. So I'll just click on it and click OK. So you can see get bonus is already automatically created. Okay, so quickly, if I recap this complete getters and setters things or data hiding part, let me start with the start. Uh, okay, so what is my requirement? The requirement is we create many variables in a class, and if we keep them anything other than private, default, protected, or public, they can be accessed from outside. Okay, and if they can be accessed from outside, then anybody can modify them. Okay, and if anybody can modify them, then they can be misused, or you can just simply pass any random value to them, which is something you should avoid. So what we do in that case is to remove the accessibilities of those variable outside this class, we make them private. So here you can see I created my both both salary and bonus as private. As soon as I created them private, nobody from outside can access them directly. Okay, still I want that they should be accessed. So for that we have some getters and setters. Okay, so what uh, setter can help you in set the value, getter can help you in get the value. Okay, now what is the extra advantage? See, if you only have getter, that means you have made your variable as read only. That means somebody from outside can read but cannot modify. Okay, and if you have and if you have defined a setter, then setter I mean this method called setter, it allows you to set the value and also gives you a flexibility to apply certain condition. Like here, my requirement was that the salary should not be less than 0. Okay, nobody can put a negative value. If that's the case, what I did, I just applied a condition stating that if salary is greater than 0, then only set the salary, else simply throw an error stating invalid salary. Clear? Any questions in this? Okay, so we are done with data hiding part, and getters and setters are also done. So and also, I mean, in real-time projects, what people do is, what I have observed is in real-time projects also we keep maximum of our variables as private. Okay, we follow proper abstraction, so we keep all the variables as private, and we use getters and setters to access, even though we don't have to apply a condition, because you don't know, maybe in future you want to apply a condition, right? So that's the reason that everyone in real-time projects keep these variables as private, all the variables as private, and then access them outside using getters and setters. So they are like standard. Okay, see, even if let's say you have a requirement where you want that the salary should either, I mean, currently I've only applied one condition, that it should not be negative. Even you can extend the condition to say that it should not be negative. Also, the minimum, there should be a limit of minimum and maximum. Minimum, you can say that I can, I mean, in my organization the minimum value anyone can have will be 3 lakhs, and maximum anyone can have will be 10 lakhs. So even you can put that condition. You will say that if salary is greater than 10 lakh, okay, you can say if the salary is greater than 3 lakh, 3,000, 30,000, 3 lakhs, and salary is less than 10 lakhs, 100,000, 10,000 lakh, 10 lakh, then only do this. Otherwise, simply say invalid salary. So if somebody enters the value in between this range, okay, I'll put it less than equal to, and I'll also put this as less than equal to. So if somebody enters the value I mean outside this range, either less than 3 lakh or greater than 10 lakh, then also this will become an invalid salary. Even you will have a flexibility of putting such a condition. Okay, so that's all in data hiding. Again, read it through that book I shared yesterday. Okay, and let me know if you have any doubt. We'll take it up. Okay, so our next topic will be polymorphism. So I'll cover polymorphism now. Before that, let's have a break for 7 minutes, and then we'll start with polymorphism. Okay, Nishta, you have a question. This condition cannot be put in simple method. They are simple methods only. Just standard name. Otherwise, they are otherwise they are just simple methods only. Just the name is like this, set salary. Otherwise, they are simple method. You can even give it any name. It's just that if you give it proper name like set get salary and set salary, then anybody who's looking at your code will understand that okay, they are getters and setters. So they are like conventions we follow. Okay, and Nisha, you're saying means when we take public variables, yes, even when you can make these variables as public, then also you can apply this condition, but the problem will come is uh, you can directly modify them. Okay, if you can directly modify them, then this method is of no use, right? If you make them public and even this method is there and you're not calling that method, no sense. Okay, yeah, so let's have a break for 7 minutes, and then we'll continue with next topic, that is polymorphism. And in polymorphism we'll start with overloading and overriding. Okay, so Bing has given some other result. Fine. So we'll see you after 7 minutes. Okay, we can continue now. Any questions before I start? Okay, so let me start with these two topic of polymorphism. Okay, so I would like to ask you first. Anyone knows about polymorphism? Like, how should I define polymorphism? Okay, so let me explain. See, polymorphism, as the word says, poly means many, morphism means phase. Okay, so many types you can say. Okay, so there are two ways to achieve polymorphism. One is method overloading, and second is method overriding. There are few questions which are asked, which are like pet questions everyone asks, so I'll try to cover them as well. So what is method overloading? Let's first discuss about this. So here it will be like methods with same name but different signature is known as method overloading. Okay, so I'll give you example. Here in the employee class, when we created this calculate salary, okay, in this calculate salary there is no argument, right? If I create another method with the same name, I'll keep the name as calculate salary only, okay, and if if the complete signature is same, you can see here also the name is calculate salary, here is also the name is calculate salary, return type for both is void, then you will get an error stating duplicate methods. Okay, but as soon as you pass the argument here, let's say I passed an argument salary and int bonus. Okay, as soon as I pass these arguments, now see there is no error. Why? Because this method which I created, this method, the signature of this method, signature means this thing, whatever you see here. Okay, whatever you see here, this method and this method are different. Here, here I'm not passing any argument, whereas in this method I'm passing two arguments. So methods with same name but different arguments, those different arguments can be number of arguments or types of arguments. See, here I'm passing int salary and int bonus, and if I change it to int salary, comma string bonus, say I just created another method string bonus. Okay, look at this, still no error. There is no error. Why? Because both of them, the name is same, one of the argument is same, but the second argument is different. So what I mean to say is that they can be different number of arguments of different type of argument. Here there is zero argument, here we have two arguments. Okay, so this is method overloading, where we have methods with same name but different arguments. Okay, so this is example of method overloading. Clear to everyone? Any questions here? Okay, now think and answer. What if in the same situation I change the return type? What will happen? First thing, is it possible? If yes, what will happen? If no, why? Think and answer that what will happen if I change the method here calculate salary, the return type is void, and here can I change it to int? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, so answer size saying yes. Yes, we can change. So here you can say I can change it to int. The error is coming because of we don't have a return statement. So if I put the return statement, let's say return total salary, it will work fine. No error. Okay. So you can simply say if by the time JVM can distinguish between your methods, okay, JVM can distinguish between your methods, okay, then uh, eh, what I was saying is that by the time your JVM can distinguish between the method, all your methods are absolutely right. Okay, they are good to go. Okay, now consider a scenario where I created another method with the name calculate salary only. Okay, arguments are also same. It does not have any argument. Here the argument number is 0. Here also the argument number is 0. Can I change it to int now? What do you think? Can I change it to int now? If the method name is same, also the arguments are same. Yes. Okay. Sai is saying yes. What about others? So the answer will be no. Why? Because see, in the other case, when we made the return type as int, the arguments were also different. So JVM or your Java compiler was able to identify these two methods based on the arguments you're passing. Okay. Here, when you are creating these two methods, here the return type is void and here the method return type is int. So when somebody is trying to call this calculate salary, we are nowhere we are passing what should be the return type. The distinguish is based on the arguments. Like based on the arguments, I can decide which method to call. But when the return type is different, then you cannot distinguish. JVM will get confused or there will be an ambiguity which method to call. When here it will try to call this method calculate salary, will get like JVM will get confused because uh, this calculate salary is with the name void as well as with the name int. I mean the return type is void, also the return type is int. Nowhere here we mention what should be the return type. So the simple answer to this question is that till the time you're able to distinguish between the methods, your overloading is good. You can write methods, but as soon as the method name becomes same, argument becomes same, then your return type cannot be different. I mean you cannot write these two methods. Okay, so they'll be duplicate methods only. Clear to everyone why we cannot have method overloading based on return type? Anyone has any question? Nishta, you have any questions here? Is it clear or no? I mean, not clear. That's what you're saying? Guys, is it clear? Any questions here? Okay. Okay, so that's all in method overloading. It's simple concept. If I just quickly recap, because a couple of people has just joined. Okay, so what I was discussing here was that in case of um, method overloading, you have same method name, but arguments are different. As soon as by the time arguments are different, you will be able, like when you will call the methods, you will be able to distinguish between them. Your JVM will be able to distinguish between the methods based on the arguments also. Okay, based on the arguments also. So in this particular case, okay, my bad. So in this particular case, this method and this method are valid methods. So when we'll call a method overloading? When multiple methods with same name but different arguments are created. Okay. So then we also discussed that if the method name are same and also arguments are same, then also arguments are different, then return type can be anything. This method can have a return type as void, this method can have a return type as int. Because distinguish is based on this, still we'll call it method overloading. But the other question was that if can we do method overloading based on different return type but same signature? So our answer should be no. Two methods with same name, same argument but different return type is not possible. That is not a good way. Okay. Now, Sai, you have a question. What is the advantage or purpose of using method overloading? Very good question, actually. I'll try to give you an example using. Uh, Yesterday we discussed about one method in string. If we recall, let me just go to yesterday's class. In string handling, we discussed one method. Okay, and the method was string dot value of. Right. Now, this method string dot value of, if you see what argument it takes, if I say string dot value of, look at how many methods you have. String dot value of when you're passing a boolean, when you're passing a character, when you're passing a character array, when you're passing double, float, int, long, object, uh, then a character and then int and then this and this and this. Look at how many value of methods are there. There are 5 6 methods, but the purpose is same. That is to convert a data type into a string. Okay. See, if we are not having this method overloading, then what could you have done? You would have named it like string dot value of boolean. You could have given the name as value of boolean, value of character, value of. That means for each data type you will have one method, right? One different method. Is it easy for someone to use, or this one is easy? I guess this way is easy. I don't have to worry about what is my data type. I just have to call the value of. Now, whether you pass a boolean value, okay, or whether you pass integer value, or whether you pass a long value, whatever value you pass, this method will convert it into string, no matter what data type you are passing, because for all the data type, the name of the method is same. Getting the point here, Sai? Though it was a good question to actually understand what is exactly the purpose. So the exact purpose for this is when you have same functionality, but to be operated on different arguments or different data type, then you can keep the name as same. That is value of. So say for example here we kept the same name, string dot value of. Now no matter what data type you pass, for all the data type, the purpose was to convert it into string. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Okay, then I have a question for you all. Think and answer. Okay, see, there are two things. One is compile time and second is runtime. Compile time execution and runtime execution. Okay, looking at this method where we have two methods, calculate salary and calculate salary, this with two arguments, what do you think? The decision of calling this method or this method will be at compile time or at runtime? What do you think? I repeat the question. The question is that I have two methods, calculate salary, both have same name. Okay, let me change it. Okay, let it be. So we have both the two methods. One is calculate salary and this is also calculate salary. Here we are doing method overloading. Now the question is, what do you think the decision of using the above method I mean the first method or the second method, what do you think will be at compile time or at runtime? Okay, so Rupesh, you're saying compile time, Susie, you're saying runtime. What about others? Think and answer. Sai, you also saying compile time. Poonam, you're also saying compile time. So yes, the answer is compile time, because at the compile time only your compiler will get to know which method to call, because they are very simple to map. This calculate salary is mapped with this one, and this calculate salary is mapped with this one. No ambiguity, right? Nothing to verify, right? Because this is also uh, clear and this is also clear. So at compile time only, you will get to know that your method overloading, I mean which method to call. So there is an interview question which is asked a lot in interviews, and the question is, out of two, method overloading and method overriding, which one is compile time? I mean, which the decision for polymorphism is done at what level? Compile time. So the answer is method overloading. Method overloading is done at compile time. Clear to all? Any questions, anyone? Okay. So this is all about method overloading. Now I'll start with the next one, that is method overriding. Okay, guys, I'm spending a lot of time in these concepts because they are very important for your interview purpose as well. But yeah, whatever I'm telling is not everything. Few things you will learn by reading. So I'll again recommend you to read as much as possible. Go through all the recordings and then go through the tutorials I shared. Okay, especially the book I shared. Okay, these OOPS concepts are given in detail there. So just read from there. You will, I mean, get a good idea about these concepts. Okay, so let's talk about method overriding. Okay, so for method overriding, I'll go to my day 8, and here we'll copy this car and machine. I'll copy this car class and machine class, and we'll paste it here. Okay, so this car class and machine class, let's see what we have. See, this car class extends machine. Okay, and this machine class has some of its own method. So if I go to machine class has some of its own method like run and save, and car class also has some of its method, say engine and save. Now, what if out of this methods which you have, the machine methods you have, like run method and save method, the way this run method is implemented, I want to change it. Okay, say for example, just consider one example. You have a car class, then you have BMW class, and then you have maybe I-20 class. Okay, so the way engine executes or the engine runs in BMW will be different in BMW, and it will be different in I-20, right? Okay, but both have this method. Okay, and then there is another class, let's say Alto, and Alto has the default method which was there in car class. So what I'm trying to say is that if a method, one or two method from your parent class, you want to change the implementation of those methods, you can do that in this class. I mean here, how? Like this. Just create another method with same name. So I created this method with same name, let's say run. Okay, and here I'm implementing it differently. Say example, I'm saying run method of car class. Okay, so I changed the implementation of this run method, okay, from machine class to car class. I created another method which is exactly same as that of super class. The name is same. Here also it's run. Here also it's run. Name is same. Return type is same. And we have created another method. Now in a demo class, if I create a demo class, demo machine. Okay, let me close this. Okay, here if I create an instance of car class, let's say car equal to new car, and I'll say car dot run. What do you think? Which method will be called? Just a second, I forget to add main method. Okay, so which method do you think will be called? Anyone? Yes, the one which is there in car class. Why? Because we have overridden the functionality of of a particular method. If I execute this method now, you will see that run method of car class is executed. Why? Because this method has overridden the functionality of car. Okay, clear? Any questions? So this is known as method overloading, where you have same name, methods with same name as in superclass and in child class or subclass. Parent, there is a method in parent class and then there is a method in child class. Both have same name but different functionality implementation. This this feature is known as method overriding. What you are trying to achieve through method overriding? Uh, Through method overriding, you're trying to change the implementation. Okay, so now the way run method is implemented will be used from car class. So this is method overridden. Clear? Any questions here? Okay, now I have one more thing to discuss here, but that is little confusing, so please pay attention here. In demo machine, see, if I create an instance of machine class, machine, let's say Mac equal to new machine. Okay, and if I call this mac.run, what do you think? Which one will call? This time, which one will it call? One from machine class? Perfect. Now, think and answer. I'm creating an instance of machine class, let's say small mac, equal to, but I'm initializing it with car class. What do you guys think? Now, which one will it call? Think and answer because this is something which is asked in interviews. Okay, so I have got a mixed response. Sai, you're saying both. Good. What about others? Rupesh, you're saying the one with machine, and Susie and Poonam, you are saying the one from car class. So, what do you think it should be? It will be from car class only. See here, it has executed the one from car class. Why? Why is it so? Look at the initialization. The initialization you have done from car class. So what it did at the compile time, it got to know that yes, in this machine class there is a method called run. That's why it has not given you any error. Okay, so but initialization as it was from car class, Okay, initialization was from car class. So at runtime, it decided from where to run. Okay, it had two options, one from machine class and second from car class. But as the initialization is from car class, so it executed the one from car class. So this is why, or this is the example you can give when you have to tell that why your method overriding is a runtime polymorphism. So the reason why it is runtime polymorphism, because at runtime it decides which method to call. At compile time it cannot decide, because for small mac run, as it's an instance of machine, it is still available in machine. Okay, so it never throwed any exception to us. Okay, but the initialization was through car class, so it executed the method from car class. Okay, Rupesh, you are saying we created object of machine, so methods, machine method will yes, machine method will only come. This run method is there in machine. That's why it is not giving you any error at compile time. Recall the recall yesterday's class. I said that you cannot access any method from car class. Even now you cannot access. If you'll see, you have methods only from machine. You don't have any method from car. This method run method is there in machine class. Now the thing is execution. Okay, execution is happening from car. Why? Because we have overridden. And why it has taken overridden method? Because you are using the constructor as car. Initialization is from car class. See, it can execute any one of the two methods, either from machine class or from car class. As the initialization was from car class, this car class overridden that. So I know it's little confusing, but try to understand it, that if your initialization is through subclass, then the methods it will call will be from subclass, but only those which are there in machine class. Instructor got initialized. You can see constructor got initialized. Here is the constructor. The last one. I am a machine constructor. I am a car constructor. Both got executed. Clear to all? Any questions here? So you have to understand compile time thing and runtime thing. Compile time is whenever you're writing a code, at that time your compiler will keep on compiling. So if you're getting any error, that means you have a compile time error. Okay, here I'm not getting any compile time because this run method is there in small mac, because small mac. But as its initialization is through car, so the car class has overridden it, and always an overridden method will be executed. Okay, Nishta, your question means you are saying if we initialize with superclass, then it will execute from superclass. If you initialize, yeah, if you initialize with, see here, this one, if you initialize it with superclass, then the method from superclass got executed. But when it was initialized with the subclass or child class, then it executed through child class, because now the decision was taken at runtime. Okay, so even answer to your question is also, Rupesh, answer to your question is also the same. Uh, as the methods are not accessible at compile time, but at runtime, your JVM has a decision to take based on this is initialization. It took the decision that I have to run the methods from car class. Got the point, Rupesh here? See, accessibility will be checked at compile time, but its execution will be decided at runtime. Okay, remember like this. Okay. So that's all in overridden. So just remember few points. One point that if you're if you have an overridden method and your initialization, just remember this: if initialization is through subclass or child class, then the method will always executed will be run will be overridden method. But if it's initialization is through the first one, that is through superclass, then the method from superclass will always be executed. Okay, so remember these points. Any questions, anyone? Okay, then let's discuss few questions, some random questions, which can be an interview question as well. Again, think and answer. Okay, Rupesh, I want you to answer it at the last or send me privately, because this is already discussed with you. Okay, so uh, the question is, I can create instance of any class, right? Machine class is there, machine Mac equal to new machine. What if I want any class? It's just an interview question. In real time, there is no sense of doing that, because that's something which is against an OOP concept. But yeah, just for your interview question, the question is, what if I want to make a class not to be initialized? See here, I have a class machine. I created an instance of machine class as Mac. What if I don't want this the variable of this class to be initialized? What can I make change in this particular class? What do you think? What can I do? Think and answer. Okay, Susie, you have a question. Make them an interface, but I want them to be a class only. I mean, or abstract class. You're right. If you have an interface or an abstract class, you cannot initialize them. But the question is, if I have a class and I want to restrict it to be initialized, can you do anything in that case? Yes, your answer is correct that using creating them interface and abstract also we can achieve this. But my question is little different. I want that if there is a normal class and I want it to be restricted to be initialized, then what can I do? Okay, make them private. Make what as private? Because class cannot be private. Class can either be public or default. Okay, we will discuss about this class public and private. I mean this access modifier. A class can either be a public or it can be a default, but it cannot be a uh, private. Okay, so yeah, yes, Rupesh, perfect answer. But I want others to think. Think, Sai, Shubhanshu, Poonam, Nishta. Think what you can do. See how what we are doing when we are initializing a variable. We are calling its constructor, right? So if I make the constructor of this class as private, will it allow me to create an instance? No, it is simply saying the constructor machine is not visible. That means you have restricted your class to be initialized. Clear? Got the point? Yeah. One of the interview question asked to me somewhere. Okay. Yeah, so I'll discuss lot many questions in next class, because I'm giving you a proper homework to do, and I want you all to do it. Then it will be a good learning for all of us. I want you all to go through uh, the topics which I have covered till now in OOPS concept through the book I shared, SCJP by Katie Sarah. You can use any other book as well. It does not matter. go through each and every line, read it thoroughly, and we'll take 1 hour out of next class and we'll only discuss those topics. Okay, because covering everything through here will want to be possible. So reading will give you more insight. Read them and we'll discuss. I'll also read. We'll both, we all of us will read and then we'll discuss. I made this mistake in my last batch that I asked them after the class to read, so nobody did that. So this time I want you all to complete within next 2 weeks, so that next week when we join the class, we can discuss all those interview questions. Okay, I want you all to read because I'm going to ask many interview questions from there. Okay, and Poonam, you're saying, can you repeat again? How can we do that? Yes, what we are doing here is when I'm creating an instance of machine class, I'm calling the constructor to initialize, right? So what I want you to do is change this public to private. As soon as you change this public to private, their accessibility is gone and you will start getting an error. The constructor machine is not visible. Why? Because any private method is available only within the same class. They are not available outside. Clear? Okay. So yeah, that's all I have for today. What I did. Okay. And I'll just change it back to public. Okay, Susie, you have a question. There is an interview question on method overloading. Can I share here? I'm not understanding the flow. Yes, no problem. Just tell me. If I know the right away, I'll tell you. Otherwise, I'll go through it. And yes, Nishta, next class will be on 21st because next week is a planned leave for me. Okay, so 21st and 21st will be the next class just after Diwali. And yeah. Sai, you have a question. When do we start TestNG approximately? Okay, very difficult question to answer because next 3 classes I'll be taking again Java, and then again next 3 classes will be Selenium, and then we'll be in a situation to start TestNG. So after 6 class, most probably 3 weekends, I'll say. Okay, Susie, whatever question you have given, I would recommend you to do one thing. Do run it through debug mode and see what you're getting. I mean, just create this in your project. Okay.
I'm getting two, Saurabh, but my question is why not one?
Okay. Yeah, that's why I'm saying. Did you try running it?
Yeah, I tried debug mode also. So it didn't go to the method override method A object. So it directly came to B and it printed B. Why it is not going to A?
Okay.
That is
Actually,
my question.
okay. Let me just copy paste the code because understanding directly won't be possible. Okay. Let me see. Let me answer other questions and then I'll end this. Let me stop the